Thank you. Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to present to you the history of language contact between Paiwan and Puyuma. So here's the outline of today. I'll begin with introductory research goal and methodology. I'll discuss on the 25 lexical items, which I'll talk about later, and then conclusion. And let's start with introduction. So here's the distribution of the Paiwan and the Puyuma languages as shown in this map. So Paiwan is spoken in the southern and southeastern Taiwan by the Paiwan ethnic group, and Puyuma is spoken in the southeastern Taiwan by the Puyuma ethnic group. And the neighboring languages of these two, Paiwan and Puyuma, includes Amis, Bunun, and Rukai. So here's the Puyuma map and the language and the abbreviations. So Puyuma includes 6 different dialects according to Ding 1978 and my ongoing MA thesis. And here are these Puyuma language dialects abbreviations, and PPUI stands for Proto-Puyuma. And here's the Paiwan language map and the abbreviations. So these Paiwan dialects include in this study is from CHUANG 2024. He used linkage for the internal relationship with the Paiwan language. He used data from the 16 Paiwan dialects as shown in this map. And so previous study on Paiwan-Puyuma relationship, according to last 1999, there has been long-standing contact between Paiwan and Puyuma because there's extensive bidirectional borrowings, there's proto-level borrowings that occurred before sound changes from Proto-Paiwan to modern dialects, and he provides 25 exclusively shared lexical items between Paiwan and Puyuma and like as supporting evidence. However, in these 25 lexical items, some are onomatopoeia, some are borrowing from Taiwanese Southern Min, and some suggest more recent borrowings, and some could be from or could be related to neighboring Formosan languages. So now let's take a look at it. The research goal of this paper is to re-examine the situation of the contact relationship between Paiwan and Puyuma, and here's the methodology. So I'll analyze the 25 lexical items. There are more examples in June 2024 in my ongoing MA thesis, and I'll consider the regular reflexes of PAN in Proto-Paiwan and Proto-Puyuma to decide whether the forms are PAN retention or are more likely to be borrowings between the two languages or between dialects, and the forms in neighboring languages, which I just mentioned before, were also considered, including Amis, Bunun, and Rukai, for more possibilities. And here's the data source. So the Puyuma data source, I have Ding 1978, Goklan, and my own fieldwork data and reconstruction on Proto-Puyuma. And Paiwan include these 3, Amis, these 4, and Rukai, Professor Lee's reconstruction, and Bunun, the Bunun dictionary. And let's move on to the discussion on the 25 lexical items. The first one, let's begin with TSM loanwords and onomatopoeia. So the TSM loanword was already mentioned in our previous presentation. This is the form for ho. So both Paiwan and Puyuma have bidao for ho. And as shown in this table, this is not a regular reflex of PAN. It is actually a Taiwanese Southern Min loanword from Ditao and Butao, and the onomatopoeia. So as shown in this map, the form for frog, both Paiwan and Puyuma have like onomatopoeic form, and this form cannot actually be reconstructed because it is onomatopoeic. And the next part is forms that are not exclusively shared. First one is pomelo. So as shown in this table, both Paiwan and Puyuma has gamurao. And similar form, gamurao is found in other languages like gamurao in Danan and Budai Rukai, and gamurao in Farangao Amis. And the next one is pumpkin. So as shown in this table, we can see that both Paiwan and Puyuma have chiak. And similar from chiak is found in Falangao Amis. And I forgot to put on like the sound correspondences table here, but please note that Paiwan and Puyuma S are from different historical source. The next one is toad. So as shown in this map, this table again, similar form can be found in Proto-Rukai according to Professor Li's reconstruction. And for the Paiwan form, we see that there are two other Paiwan dialects investigated in this research. They have a different form for toad, Nabu. So it's not in all the Paiwan dialects. There are like just partial Paiwan dialects have this form. The next one is mushroom. So we can see that on the table below, both Paiwan and Puyuma forms, they're not regular reflexes of PAN because looking from that PAN B to Paiwan and PAN J to Paiwan Puyuma. And in addition to the irregularities, the forms are irregular in different Puyuma dialects. Like internally, it's irregular in Puyuma. For example, in Nanguang dialect, they have Bariu, but in Tamalacao, they have Bariu with a P, and Katipul and Casabagan, they have Bariu. So also similar form is found in Falarang Amis and Budai Rukai. Next one is beard. So again, we have a PN reconstruction for beard that looks very similar, but if we look at the regular sound correspondences and reflexes, we see that Paiwan has a regular reflex of PAN, and Puyuma is irregular. Looking from that capital S from PAN, we are expecting to see a 0 in Proto-Puyuma, but here we can see that we got an S here. And Amis and Bunun also have regular reflexes PAN as Nisnis. So maybe Puyuma borrowed this Nisnis form from other neighboring languages. The next one is spiritual. So there's a PAN reconstruction as well, but Paiwan, Puyuma, and Amis, none of them have regular reflexes of PAN. Looking from the reflex sound correspondences reflex on the table above. So possible interactions, we can see that because Proto-Paiwan has that palatal stop, and Proto-Puyuma and Proto-Amis stop that Proto-Puyuma has a retroflex L, and Proto-Amis has a flap, so they are more likely to be borrowed. So we're saying that maybe Puyuma borrowed this from Amis. The next one is to sing. So in the table below, we can see that both Paiwan and Puyuma, they don't have regular reflexes of PAN. And the regular sound correspondences is like Proto-Paiwan lowercase s is from Proto-Austronesian T, and Proto-Puyuma lowercase s is from Proto-Austronesian lowercase s. But so we're seeing the irregularities here. And the form, some of the form is reconstructed with Proto-Rukai. So there is possible interactions between these three languages, Paiwan, Puyuma, and Rukai. This is the tendency we see here. So the next one is PN retentions. So among those 25 lexical items, we see some PN retentions as well. The first one, we have bait and thread in reconstructed to PN level. They both show regular sound correspondences between Paiwan and Puyuma, and they're both regular reflexes of PN. So as we can see here, PN capital C is reflected as Proto-Paiwan capital C in Proto-Paiwan. Sorry, and then PN capital C is reflected regularly as a retroflex T in Proto-Puyuma. And the next one is some examples for dialectal contact from those 25 lexical items that show Puyuma loanwords in Paiwan. The first one is papaya. Papaya is a kind of fruit that is not native to Taiwan. So we're seeing that Puyuma katawa, it is a regular reflex of PA and katawa. Only 3 Paiwan dialects investigated in this research have similar form, and other dialects either borrow from other languages, as we can see in the table below. They have borrowings from TSM, they have borrowings from Japanese, they have borrowings from possibly Taiwanese Mandarin, or they don't actually have a form for it. So the possibility we're seeing here is that these Paiwan dialects that have papaya probably borrowed from Puyuma. The next one is whole. So it is reconstructed to BAN as Wuhan. And we are seeing a regular reflex of PAN in Puyuma. And Paiwan B is irregular. So as shown in the table on the top, we're expecting to see a V from PN to Proto-Paiwan, but in this Paiwan form, we are seeing a B. And in Zhang 2024, he reconstructed Rara for Proto-Paiwan. So there's actually another form for whole in Proto-Paiwan level. So the possibility is that maybe some Paiwan dialects borrow the form Guang from Puyuma. The next one is eyebrow. So as shown in this map, as shown in this table, Proto-Paiwan is got Vugi Vugit, which is a regular reflex of Proto-Austronesian, this form, and has some redification going on. And there are 3 Paiwan dialects investigated that have Sideng or Sizeng with different word final nasals. So it's irregular already. So we're saying that probably the form we are seeing in these 3 Paiwan dialects are a borrowing from Puyuma, because in Proto-Puyuma, it can be reconstructed as Sideng. The next one is slippery. So the forms in Paiwan and Puyuma show regular correspondences, and both of them are not like regular reflexes of PA and reconstruction, but we have to know that not all the Paiwan dialects investigated have this Danduch form. Paridayan and Pachaban Paiwan, they have like these 2 different forms respectively. So even though the Paiwan and Puyuma form are in regular sound correspondences, they cannot be reconstructed to proto level in Paiwan. And the next one is Puyuma pharyngeal H on epiglottal stop borrowed as Paiwan Q, as we see in the word for field mouse. So Proto-Paiwan, according to Zhang 2024, he reconstructed Urava for mouse. But the distinction between mouse and field mouse is only seen in some Paiwan dialects. So most Paiwan dialects we investigated are only has mouse, but only like some other several Paiwan dialects have mouse and field mouse. So they probably borrowed the form from Puyuma to make a distinction between regular mouse and field mouse. The next one is Puyuma B, borrowed as Paiwan B, for as we've seen in Sika deer. So as shown in the table, the form in Proto-Paiwan Vernan is a regular reflex of Proto-Austronesian reconstruction Vernan. And Puyuma Biao is probably, Paiwan Biao is probably borrowed from Puyuma Biao into Upper Down Paiwan. And also, it's worth notice that the whole form Guang we see in like previous slides, and it's a Proto-Puyuma B borrowed as Paiwan B example as well. And more B borrowed as B falls on bag or sack. So it's shown in this table. For Proto-Puyuma, we can reconstruct this form as Rubuk. Puyuma Rubuk is a regular reflex of PN reconstruction like this. In Paiwan form, as like marked in red, Paiwan form is not a regular reflex because we're expecting to see a V in Proto-Paiwan. So these Paiwan dialects probably borrowed the form from Puyuma as pockets. And the next one is to cheat or to lie. So Proto-Puyuma has the reconstruction busus, while Proto-Paiwan has a different form, Venata or Verta. So power form in some dialects like Jabali and Jajavos Paiwan, we have Bernusus. And this is not in regular sound correspondences because again, we're expecting to see a V in Paiwan. So we think that Puyuma Busus is borrowed into some Paiwan dialects. The next one is dialectal contact from in Paiwan loanwords in Puyuma. This one is clothing. So shown in this table, we have Paiwan kava, and this is a regular reflex of PN this form because the PN capital R is reflected as 0 in Proto-Paiwan. But if we're saying that if we the Proto-Puyuma expected form, we're expecting to have a trill in the word final position in Proto-Puyuma if it is regular. So we can see that it is actually irregular in those Puyuma languages that have similar forms. So probably Puyuma borrowed the Paiwan form as Gavang, Gafang, or Gafang in different dialects, respectively. And this feeler nasal plays a role like for final compensation, probably. The next one is needle. So there's a PN reconstruction as well. So Paiwan form for needle is a regular reflex of PN, while the Puyuma form is irregular because again, it's the capital R issue. We're expecting to see an R in Puyuma. So Puyuma probably also borrowed this form from Paiwan. And the next one is Paiwan Q, borrowed as Puyuma K, as we've seen in blood. So some Puyuma dialects like Nangwang, Pinaski, and Muriburibuk, they have Damuk or Zamuk. And it is not a regular reflex of PAN because the regular reflexes of PANQ in Proto-Puyuma should be pharyngeal H, but we're seeing a K here. So we're expecting to have a word final pharyngeal fricative in Puyuma. So possibly some Puyuma dialects borrow the Paiwan form Zamuk, borrow Q as K. And in the last line of this table, in Tamalacao, Katipul, and Casabacan Puyuma, they are actually the regular reflexes of another PN reconstruction for blood, the one with the one in parentheses with a capital R. Another one is paper. I know that paper is like a more modern product, but we can still see some traits from the Q and K patterns. So the form in Taiwan, adubu, or like Q or either a glottal stop in word initial position, is regular among the dialects internally. And the shared forms, the similar form in Puyuma, katubu, is only seen in Nawang Pinaski, Muriburibuk, Ligaong, and Tamalacao. So we are seeing like different forms in Katipul and Casabacan Puyuma as Faray. So maybe some Puyuma dialects probably they borrow the Taiwan form, Q as K. The last one is two exclusively shared lexical items that we found from those 25 lexical items. For soup and to drink wine. So both Proto-Puyuma and Proto-Paiwan have xiao for soup, and both of them have like Jamagur and Jamgur for drink wine. There is no clear borrowing directions for these two exclusively shared items. Both can be reconstructed to proto level. And note that these forms are not seen in other neighboring languages nor PN reconstructions. But these forms are irregular. So like as I mentioned previously, for example, for soup, source of S in Puyuma and Paiwan they are from different historical phonemes, as we can see in the table above. And also the T, lowercase t and capital C in Puyuma and Paiwan respectively. So let's move on to the conclusion. Among the 25 shared lexical items, only 2 exclusively shared words between Paiwan and Puyuma can serve as evidence for proto-level contact. We're seeing one word for TSM borrowing, one word for onomatopoeic, and there are several words that are found in other languages and probably point to possible interactions with other neighboring languages. We have 2 PAR retentions, and we recognize 8 Puyuma loanwords in Paiwan and 4 Paiwan loanwords in Puyuma. So the conclusion. Previously, in Plus 1999, he said that the 25 lexical items indicate that there has been long-standing contact between Paiwan and Puyuma, include extensive bidirectional proto-level borrowings. The proto-level borrowings means that before Proto-Paiwan developed into modern Paiwan dialects. But this research shows that possibly there is some early stage contact between Paiwan and Puyuma, but it's only supported by 2 lexical items out of those 25 words. The extensive contact between Paiwan and Puyuma occurred between certain Paiwan and Puyuma dialects and seems to be more recent. The more recent here, we mean that after Proto-Paiwan developed into modern Paiwan dialects. And this is all for my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.